Happy New Year, guys. Lucas Monocroft here, Chief Visionary Officer and co-founder of Crofty. Now, I've been asked to put together a little video together, a reflection of what 2019 means to me in the organisation. I guess I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and I want to dive into, I guess, not just a reflection of 2019, but what does a reflection look like of the last 10 years? I've seen a lot of things on Facebook recently around the decade in time, and what does a decade reflect to who you are today. So I guess I'd like to start with two main points. One is jumping back 10 years, and the second main point is around what does actually a break or a getaway look like for 2019 or the end of 2019? What's it come to? What people are doing, what I'm seeing on social media, and then preparing for 2020. Now, I guess the biggest key takeaway recently that I was able to understand is one of our colleagues in the organisation and co-founder of Tribute, Dean, he recently said that coming to the end of this year, 2019, it wasn't we're not going to go on a break and go on, okay, let's put 2019 behind us, let's focus on 2020. He more came to the point of, well, the Christmas time is a mid-year or half-time break for the financial year that we're currently in. So let's go away, let's reflect on the last 6 months, let's have some downtime to recharge and regenerate, and let's come back with a bang to finish off 2020 financial year with a bang. And so I guess I took that a lot as I was thinking about this particular message, and it's 100% true. And so what we normally see is, and especially Facebook as it is today, and Instagram and social media, is people go, well, that was 2019, that's what's happened, let's put that behind us, let's put our 2020 goals in place, let's focus on the next 12 months. And now if I reflect on 10 years, that's happened every single year for the last 10 years. And so I guess I just feel like that nothing's changing, but everything's changing at the same time. It's a funny thing to think about this, right? So what I'd like to discuss quickly is the previous 10 years. So if I go back even more than 10 years, back to 2008, because people will say to me, what does 2019 actually mean to you? And I've said this to many people so far already. 2019 reminds me of what 2008 was when we went through the global financial crisis. Now, I wasn't a business owner back then, I was an employee of an organisation, but I was in the trenches and I was in organisations on the ground, hands and feet on the ground, in businesses. And so I was hearing and listening to how these business owners were going through the 2008 scenario. And so why I say that the 2019 reminds me of 2008 is because a lot of the conversations has been around the confidence in the market is down. And so if the confidence in the market, or if the business owner themselves doesn't have confidence of what's happening in the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months, then everything starts to stop. And so I've seen a ripple effect this year, where we go into organisations, we have conversations around putting up an innovation plan in place for the next 12 months to 3 years, and what I find is that they can't see it more than 3 months ahead, because there's no point thinking 12 months or 24 months ahead, because the way the confidence is and the way the market is going and the economy and what it means to them, if their customers stop spending, or their wholesalers, their retailers, or whatever industry they're in, if they stop spending or they stop buying, then it affects them personally. And if it affects them and their business personally, then they go, well, what does the next 3 months look like? Because we can't plan 12 or 24 months ahead. And so I guess in reflection of what 2019 looks like, it really reminds me of what the feeling was in the market in 2008. So what does that mean? And what does that mean about reflecting on 2019 versus what's coming in 2020? And so I'll revert back to Dean's comment, which is we're at the midway point as a halftime break to regenerate ourselves to kick off and finish the end of financial year. We have seen the confidence in the market pick up the last 3 months, which is obviously it's a good thing, because it's not been a super successful year for many in business, to the point that like if I was to reflect on where we thought we were going to be at the beginning of 2019 to where we are now is completely different. We set up our office ready to expand to have we could fit nearly 30 odd people in our office. Has that happened? No, it hasn't. It's gone backwards. We've downsized. We've scaled back. We've regrouped. Because at the end of the day, we're a supplier to most organisations, and if most organisations either are not buying or selling their products or services, then they have to put their suppliers and contractors on hold, and us being one of them. So it allowed us to reflect and regroup to exactly what we're trying to achieve long term in ourselves. The second thing, the main point I got out of 2019 is being in a local economy. So when the economy is down or the confidence is down in the market, then being a part of a local economy has a huge effect on your organisation. So one thing that I'll be striving to 100% achieve in the next 12 months to 24 months is be part of a global economy. And not just the Western world, because obviously if it affects if the US or Canada or UK in Europe, if the economy also affects where we sit as well as Australia and New Zealand, then obviously that's not always a good thing. So I want to be part of a global economy in many locations around the world, because at the end of the day, if you're a part of the global economy and the Australian economy is down or the US economy is down, etc., it shouldn't really have too big of an effect on your organisation and on your personal situation. And so even though it has been a super tough year, I guess it's been really good to know where your strengths are, know where your weaknesses are, and what you want to achieve long term to avoid being in a sticky situation again. So I guess in reflection to what does 2020 really mean to myself, what does it mean out there, what am I hearing, what am I seeing? The confidence in the market, as I said before, it has picked up the last 3 months, which is really cool. What I am feeling is that people are pushing through now. So even if the economy is not changing and the marketplace or market share isn't changing, people have been holding on to holding on to this hope or holding on to this idea that things will just pick up itself, which obviously it hasn't. So people are now pushing through and just forcing it to happen, which is pretty cool, because at the end of the day, we all take the responsibility in our own hands, to make our world sing. And so, if we can really push forward together as a community, together as business owners, together as entrepreneurs, then ideally we can actually enhance the economy in a way that we're not just relying on people and situations outside of our control, being the US or different economies which affects us. And so because the confidence has picked up, I am seeing that people are now just wanting to push forward. So typically January, February, and March are usually super slow times, but I'm already getting inquiries about doing major projects in January, February, March, which typically never happen until end of financial year. Because once you've got your budget set, in most organisations that's your budget for that particular year. But because people have been holding on for so long, they're wanting to just make things happen. So on that front, on the second front is around the global expansion and having a footprint in multiple different jurisdictions, so then this doesn't affect you long term. And so our personal goal is to have 100 clients in 100 different countries, within 12 to 24 months. Ideally in the next 6 months is having 100 clients in the US, UK, in the Western world, because that's just easy for us from a scalability point of view, to try to avoid that stimulation around the economy fluctuating. Who knows what's happening in the politics and how that's going to affect the economy moving forward. But that's our personal goals, to really push forward in these areas, so then we can ensure that if anything does change, it will be avoided. On a personal note, it's always reflecting on what have you put into your own personal life, what can you do to improve on that, rather than thinking differently and thinking that you have to be a completely different person, which hopefully by now you that hasn't happened to you, but actually going, well, that's who I am, I accept who I am, how can I actually just improve on who I am as a person? And so me personally is really digging deep into my roots and understanding where my strengths are, and really getting absolute amazing at my strengths, and slightly working on the weaknesses. But that's not too crucial, because if you get really good at your strengths, you can have people in your networks and surrounding you to help you through those weaknesses and those the tough challenges that you might have that you're not so good at. So that's pretty much a wrap. Hopefully, I have seen a lot of posts already on 2020, and they're listing out all these big goals and what they're trying to achieve in that first or they say 2020. To be, I see it as the first 3 to 6 weeks, which is being healthy and being fit and getting a new relationship, or doing a full makeover in yourself personally. At the end of the day, I don't believe any of those type of goals actually work, because it's a commitment, it's consistency, it's a long-term thing, it's not a short-term fix. I can say from personal experience that I've tried these, I've been one of these people in these fads over time, and unless you commit to it long-term, it just doesn't happen. So it'll be interesting to see how long or how quick those people can actually see that at the end of the day, before they go into 2020. Because if they're not going to commit long term, i.e. the entire year, then it just won't happen. As I said, I've been a part of that before, which is a bit stupid if you think about it, because we all want to achieve the goals that we set out to achieve, but we need to make sure we're also being realistic in what's actually possible in our life. Anyway, guys, I thought I'd just shoot that message across, and of course I'm always open for a conversation, a coffee, a video conference, a chat, Facebook message, LinkedIn, whatever you can get a hold of me on. Always keen to see what challenges and goals you're putting forward for yourselves personally and in the business, and then ideally holding yourself accountable to achieve those goals. Alright guys, cheers.